comment is a question is that? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That's just a really bad analogy, honey.
Yeah,
fallacy argument right there. Exactly. That's a fallacy argument.
it is a fallacy argument. That's well said. That is well said. So.
And hi, Crazy Claire. Love you and haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you.
So that, going back again, like how we talked about the genetic studies, Cruzado is a Tainoist, so of course he was going to put Taino in there to help promote Tainoism as an indigenous designation. But as, Hannes Schroeder had put Taino in there because he did his due diligence in his first study on PFAS and science, the peopling of the Caribbean. And then in his second study, the genomic insights of the peopling of the Caribbean, in 2020, he didn't put Taino in there because Taino was too broad of a term to use, and he had already, felt a little like some kind of way about Taino and decided to not use it. So in the second study of Caribbean remains, he chose to not use the term Taino, but that study, which is more recent and more accurate, is not ever touched on by Tainoists because it doesn't mention Taino in it. And it disproves the unbroken lineage narrative that Tainoists present. Hannes Schroeder's second study in 2020 totally dismantles the Taino concept of a continuous indigenous lineage. I mean, it completely dismantles it. And so, knowing that, and then knowing that Taino is a recent fabrication within the past 100 years, even 80 years, how can any Taino come up and say that they're a Native American indigenous tribe when it is a complete fabrication of an indigenous identity?
Good question. Natives Only is going on about never having had any kind of centralized leadership system. You want to tackle that one?
Well, of course not, because there hasn't been any. I mean, come on.
Yeehaw, yeehaw. Sorry. My ass got the better of me there.
Of course there hasn't been. I mean, like, the native people in Puerto Rico were fully assimilated by the year 1600. It wasn't a G word or an extinction word. It was assimilation. I mean, you got to think logically, right? Like, the Spanish came in 1492. So the first Creole was born most likely in 1493. So from 1493 on, by the time 1600 came on a little island that it's 110 miles long, 35 miles wide, and has mountains less than a mile high, that not every inch of that island had been explored or tromped over by Spanish forces in 100 years. There was not one nook and cranny that wasn't left untouched on that island. And of course they were going to assimilate into the Spaniards. I mean, that's just common sense. It's kind of ridiculous to say that there's an existing Taino tribe when A, Taino wasn't fabricated until the 60s, and B, the the centuries of colonization and the impact of that on such a small island area would make a claim like that absolutely asinine to make. It just doesn't, it defies logic.
And I think, I'm thinking in terms too of just imagining what it might have been like before colonization. The indigenous people of that island before any colonization ever happened, and what they would have been like there. And I imagine that they, again, not that we're a monolith, not that we can compare and conflate anything, but that, all of us had forms of leadership and tribalism, that made us distinct. And we certainly had leadership style. Well, hell, the United States government patterned their documents and stuff after us. Well, tribes up north, Iroquois, etc., Confederacy and all that. But, I'm saying that, of course, we had political ways and governments and of our own, with our own words and language and culture and everything, right? It didn't look like other people's, but obviously it was there. And I'm sure they did too. And then, of course, colonization happening so early for them is as you just explained, yeah, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the, as I shared earlier, Tainoism is filled with, fantasy and silver-tongued storytellers. And so a lot of what makes up Taino is the fantasy of a pre-colonial idea of what people were like, right? One of the things that I was told when I was a Taino was think like a Taino. Think like a Taino. Here I am 500 and something odd years after the Boricua people were cohesive, tribal, many different tribes on the island. I'm being told to think like somebody that lived in the times of Shakespeare. It's an act of domination. It's an act of colonization. I call it the conquistadors of identity, because they go in and attack and eliminate anything that challenges, attempt to eliminate anything that challenges the Taino concept or narrative. So that I feel that's an important point to make, because it's typical of cults to do that, to wage an attempt at discrediting the person for speaking out against their experience in that CULT. So it's typical, it's textbook for a CULT to do that.
Absolutely. And we're seeing more of the same crap in the comments, because they don't have anything factual to counter your facts with. And so what are they doing now? I'm white. I'm 1% Indian. And of course they don't know what the hell they're talking about, because I'm white skinned, or anyway. So apparently I'm a whitey person, or I'm 1% Indian in their mind, because of the way my tribe has decided to do things, because we don't buy into the genocidal blood quantum BS. But these people who are also part black and accuse us of being racist or accuse us of being anti-black, and yet they're going to sit there and be colorists and focus on the color of some of our skins, or they're going to be bigots with regard to the blood quantum and make fun of people for being mosquito bite Indians or Band-Aid Indians. Yeah, we've heard it all. And yet we're still Indians accepted by our communities, including the full bloods in our communities who accept us because we actually speak our languages, or we go to our ceremonies, or we live among our people. You know, we're not living in the big city like natives only. We're living on our reservations among our people. So, you know, sorry about it if you're jealous about that, but because we're actually Indian. But yeah, it's my. You're right. It's none of your business. You're a colorist. You're the bigot. You're the wannabe, not me. All those things apply to you and not me. So, what were we saying before? Nanny, nanny, boo, boo. Yeah, I'm so tired of the nanny, nanny, boo, boo wannabes that show up in these comments whining. But that's what they're always going to do. And just like the Lumbies that, yeah, got slapped back to Congress where they belong because they're not Indian either. Never have been, never will be. You invented a group and named it after a river in English. Come on now. Ridiculous. Yeah, living on a res doesn't make you native, madam. No shit, Sherlock. Yeah, we got white people living on our res. But me living on my res does make me an Indian because I'm actually a citizen of that tribal nation, dumbass. So yeah. All right. I've about had it with the ignorance here. Let me get rid of some of these morons. And we can have a more civil conversation. So I'm done. I'm done with these idiots. We can have a much more civil conversation without them. Tired of their crap. So, it was a good live, though. You tried, Tanya, but as you stated before, and as we all know, you're not ever going to be able to convince somebody who's mentally ill or delusional or a member of a COLT or intoxicated. I mean, we know we can never have meaningful conversations with anybody like that. So there's really no point in even trying. But we can educate the other people out there who are listening and who otherwise might be led down that path, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you saved a few people from becoming victims of these grifters.
Yes. And I know that there's going to be like the hardcore Tainoists, that will believe it because they need to. It's like a church, like the Taino religion, right? Like it's a church. It attracts vulnerable seekers who need that whatever it is in their life for something to believe in, that's what they feel, right? But that doesn't make it real. And it doesn't make it an excuse to dress up in culturally appropriative and inappropriate culturally costumes, prancing around, pretending and telling everybody that they're Native American and attacking actual tribal citizens for challenging that level of inauthenticity. And so that's, I get that. But for the people that are like, there's something about that Taino stuff that I wasn't sure, and thank you for confirming it, that's the people that this message is for. That's who are willing to go beyond Tainoism to connect with their culture, with my culture, with our culture, in an authentic, integral way, and honor and learn, just the culture that has stood the test of time because it's still there. It's just not Taino.
Yep, exactly.
For this opportunity for me to share all of these things, and thank you for all of you for watching and sticking around and coming back. And I look forward to more of these conversations because every tribal citizen needs to know about Tainoism to protect their tribes and their people and their families from Taino harm.
Agreed. We need to all know about all of these frauds and cults. So let's do another one of these soon. Educate some more people.
Yes, thank you for the work you do, Liana. You're awesome.
Thank
Love
you.
you.
You too. Can't wait to read your book.
Yee.
All right, and thank you everybody for coming. I hope you all learned something. Thank you all for sharing in the comments. I also loved seeing all the Cherokees in here tonight. That was pretty awesome. Nunya, thank you for being here. All you guys, natives only, such a disappointment to me, but nothing surprises me anymore. Have you guys tried the new pickle Doritos? All right, that's out there. No, I haven't, and I want to because I absolutely love pickles and I'm craving them lately. So I need to try those. Don't see this many Cherokee in one space. Yeah, you're right. We don't often. Warrior up. Yeah, okay. Good luck. I'm with you there. Fire. Yes. One fire. All right, you guys. It was great to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing the live.